was always known as the guy from Darndale, you know what I mean? He's the young fella from Darndale, so I would have found that tough being outside, and from having like kids trying to bully me and make mockery of me. I felt like that even from teachers, like I've been like sort of been ostracised out of class, so I've been removed from the general population, because at the time like I didn't know how to actually manage, I didn't know how to cope like with the pressure of being like, actually you're from Darndale, you're this, and getting the slaggings and the things like that. When I did inherit the reputation of the area, like that sort of like stuck with me, you know. So obviously from being in the area, like we found a lot of like friends and things like that growing up, and we all showed similar interests at like one parent families, you know, and we all sort of like found like a brotherhood, like, you know what I mean, where we all like stuck together. There was no resources in the area. There's nothing for us that we could actually do. But one thing that we did always have was the reputation of being from that district hanging over our heads, and then you'd have the police coming in and encountering my life at an early stage, like arresting it on loitering charges and arresting it on stupid things. When me and my brother and my mother moved there was a stigma that was attached with the area that was going back since the 80s and the 70s when it was actually built. And as a child, I actually inherited that stigma straight off the bat. Now we're going over to a community where I grew up, which isn't far from where we're at the leaving. And we're going to talk about a few different points on what discrimination, socio-economic discrimination about the area I grew up in, how that affected me as a child. Basically, what I found was, when growing up there, I was like, am I a product of this environment, you know, because I'm a chap who had, I'm a young lad who had mental health difficulty growing up, ADHD, and growing up here as a child, it was very tough, you know. The community was very, very tough. You're sort of drawn into all this sort of violence and stuff like that, you know, because other people in the communities we were just all like fucking broken, and you know, we were just a little bit wild or whatever, so we had to learn how to fight to protect yourself. And the devil makes work for idle hands, you know what I mean, and the council made sure that there was nothing there to keep us occupied. There was no services there. You're looking up to all that gangs and things like that, because it's a tough area. You need protection, like, you know what I mean. You need to, and then before you know it, you're in the midst of it all. Everywhere I go, I was always sort of tarnished with the same brush. When I withdrew myself from the area, the community, everything, and I had all of them people up on the Tiglain rehabilitation program who really helped me, who really took a liking to me. Like, I really progressed and I really developed, you know, to the person who I am today. And that rose a question within me, you know. No, that answered the question. From being in the community, I've been labelled like, you're just another one from Darndale, like especially with the police and all that, you know what I mean. And I found it very tough, because we were like ostracised, living in a bubble, that like even the media and all would always like write articles about Darndale's this, or this happened in Darndale, or this shooting, that shooting, and you know what I mean. And then we're all tarnished then with the same brush. And even with that Dublin 17 address, like I got like refused from school applications and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So I felt greatly discriminated against. We were just labelled as bad people, bad kids. I've been told in school I'd never amount to nothing. I was put away at the age of 12, you know what I mean? At the age of 12, I was put away, sent away by the courts, the children's court and things like that, you know. But all they see, they don't see the background, they don't see the traumas, the hardships, everything that we had to sort of endure. If you're from Darndale, you apply for a job, you put your name down the CV, Darndale, that CV is getting ripped up and put in the bin because of discrimination from the postcode from the area. The address can follow you for the rest of your life. From living in them areas, you can pick up your convictions and things like that you get. They follow you for the rest of your life. They're a blockade for when you want to get a job. So it's bad enough having convictions, having an address, having an accident. If you're going to place children into an environment like this, and then they have to grow up in an environment like this, yeah, all they see is you're just a trouble-rising young man, and just put him out somewhere, Overstown, St. Lawrence's, Michael's, wherever. You know what I mean? That's the harsh reality of it. Them little lanes in there would have been from, like, my little community was in there. And yeah, it taught me whole entire life that from social workers, from people that were like screws and staff members, from the institutions that I was put away in. I was told by GPs, I was told by the courts, I was told by like the police, I was told by everybody I was never going to amount on. I was always saying to myself, is it me? Am I just a bad person? Is it me? Maybe I am a product of my environment. Do you know what I mean? Maybe is it me? I'm a bad person, but I knew in my own heart that I'm not a bad person. All them labels that they label me is they're not true. Do you know what I mean? Because I was lucky enough to have the experience to get withdrawn from the area, to go up to a place and deal with everything that was going on inside me, that was driving all of this madness inside me. I was walking on the polytunnels one day. This was my assigned work duty in the centre. While I was walking, I had some time to think about my life. I had some strawberries grown in the polytunnel, and I had some grown in my room as well. Inside the polytunnel, the strawberries were grown really great, real ripe and real fresh. I was just standing there one day and I was thinking to myself, how did they get like that? I started to realise it's because of the resources, like how the resources, the good environment. It's the heat, it's the water, and it has all the good stuff combined to help them grow, compared to the plants left outside the polytunnel, unattended, uncared for. And as I was thinking, I could relate that to myself. The community I grew up in was very rough, and there was a huge lack of resource and a high crime rate. Nobody really cared about it. The majority of the population are all on social welfare. There's no football team, not many resources, the police are always around, and generally nobody really liked it. My community had a bad reputation. I grew up there and found it very hard. I realised it's not the person that comes out of the community, it's the actual resources they have and the refinements that's around them that help them grow. When I returned to my community, I noticed very little had changed, and it reminded me of the strawberry beds left unattended. Just like when I was walking on them strawberry beds, it was the good resources that helped the plants grow, and for myself it was the good resources and the good people that helped me grow. I soon found out that I wasn't a bad person. It was the place that I had to grow up in that had been neglected. It's ironic because it was at the strawberry beds where I developed an understanding of myself, the key to understanding others. As I matured and my character continued to develop, I realised that I can now use my experience to help others. This experience has taught me what a young person needs to grow. People from disadvantaged communities are are seen as bad people, but that's not true. I question it. Is it just a coincidence these communities end up in the states that they are in, or is it purposely designed by government bodies and councils to be this way? With them childhood traumas, once I got to learn about just the basics in life through biblical context and things like that, that's when I felt like I was set free. And then I realised it's not the person, it's not the people that are bad people, do you know what I mean? It's the communities they're forced to live in. They're underfunded, so you can just look around and you can see, look, it's just that they're underfunded. Nobody really cares about it because the media slander the communities with, oh, darn, this happened here, blah, 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 so they don't help the situation. When I was introduced to ATD 8 years ago, I found I love the ethos within ATD. Everybody's equal, do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, we're all equal. And I really loved that, and I really took a shine into it. And from a person who's been grown up being told that I'll never amount to anything, I'm going to be destined for a life of crime and everything else, and I'll never make it. It was very tough to grow up here, but look, at the end of the day, it's that they're making me strong. It's that I'm conditioned, you know, through hardships and conditioned. And what else I had sat down, it's that they're setting like a burning flame in my gut for a desire to speak up and to make change. You know what I mean? And that's why people in this community need to be protected. I'd just like to hold this up because what you have in Ireland at the moment protected under the law is you have a gender, age, religion, disability, civil status, family status, traveller community, race, sexual orientation. So there's 9 grounds. So socio-economic status is about people's social status. So it's not just as important as the other 9 grounds. So where's our protection? Why is this being prolonged? Do you know what I mean? Because there's a vast majority of us in Ireland who suffer from socio-economic discrimination on a daily basis. It's hidden. Not a lot of people, because the stigma of poverty, nobody wants to talk out, nobody wants to talk about poverty because it's a touchy subject. You know, but I feel it's very, very important that I'm here today, that I want to talk about it, I want to get on film, because I want to come back and I want to be productive within the community that I grow up in, and I want to see that this socio-economical status is going to be passed, and it has to be passed, because we need the protection under the law that's the same as everybody else on them other 9 grounds. If you want to come into all of these communities, clear them up and all, rehabilitation, all of this, mental health, everything, all blah blah blah, well and good, well then the crime rate is going to drop down, you know. We won't stop campaigning until we actually do get this law passed. You know, when this law is passed, it's going to be groundbreaking, basically. You know, it's 3 years in the making, you know, and we will get it passed. Yeah, we'll get it passed one way or another.